Do you want to modify our MAPS workout programs for your individual needs? Watch this.
Our next caller is Jeff from Connecticut.
Jeff, what's happening, man? How can we help you?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Wow, this is kind of surreal. Been a listener since episode like 500. So,
wow. Oh, wow. Back when we sucked.
Thank you for staying with us. Yeah.
So my question is kind of about that. Over the years, I feel like I've heard you guys give tons of great tangible advice on different things you can do to incorporate into your workouts. Like specifically, I think recently there's been a big push for like sled drives. I feel like you guys talk about a lot, but also things like Indian Club and Mace Bell and stuff like that. So my question is, if I'm following a MAPS program and I want to follow it, basically as close to a T as I can because I've seen good results, what's the best way to incorporate those different types of moves that I feel like you guys, talk about the benefits of all the time?
How long have you been following MAPS Anabolic for?
I've ran Anabolic once. I'm in Performance now. So I was, based on like the next round back through Anabolic, was thinking about trying to incorporate or modify slightly.
That's the way to do it. This is the $1 million question. There with strength training, there's 5,000 different exercises and probably 3 different ways to do each one. So it's impossible to program everything into every program. However, Adam, I know where Adam's leading. It's like once you follow our programs to a T once or twice, you should have a decent grasp on how to modify for your body. So like you use the example of the sled. Where would you put the sled in MAPS Anabolic? Well, I would, on a day where you're going to do squats, instead of squats, do sled that day and see what happens. It's a leg exercise. That would be an easy way. Mace Bell, Indian clubs. How do you incorporate that? Well, maybe you start before you get into your shoulder workout or before you get into your presses, you do a few rounds of Mace Bell or Indian clubs, just to kind of get your shoulders kind of warmed up and stuff. Turkish get-ups. Where would I put a Turkish get-up? Very beginning of the workout. Start your workout with a few Turkish get-ups, then get into your workout and see how it works. Or do it at the very end. That's another way to do it.
It also depends on how you're using these type of unconventional lifts. Like, are you actually trying to load and make it, a strenuous exercise? And that's something that I would actually, to Sal's point, replace an exercise with that. Or you could use them as primers, which is something too that you figure that out, your own specific needs and routine from our prime program, where you go through the compass test, you figure out what zone you need to focus on the most. And so that's where a lot of times I needed more shoulder rotation. So I would do my Indian clubs as a primer before I knew I had like heavy overhead lifts for that day. So, there's lots of different ways to uniquely incorporate these unconventional lifts, and they're very valuable. It just also revolves around the intent of them, because you can load them and you can make them an actual strenuous type of an exercise, but now you're looking at having to replace.
Yeah, there isn't a right or wrong answer per se in this, because you can use this a bunch of different ways. How Sal actually gave the example is exactly how I use all the things you listed. I literally love to do the sled. So my favorite way to do sled when I'm running like an anabolic program is when I know I kind of overreached the last time I squatted. And I'm still kind of sore, and I'm like, oh man, I did more than I need to, or I loaded more than I need to. So today I'm going to drive the sled. So I'm kind of giving my body a little bit of extra recovery because it's not as strenuous on it. And so I'm going to load it though. I'm going to load it and I'm going to drive it hard. So I'm going to get a great workout from it, but it's still nowhere near as demanding on the body as like a barbell back squat. So I love to replace that. And how I used to start the workouts, and I got that from Justin, is the Mace. I love to do Mace and Indian clubs before I do any upper body movements. It's just a great primer for your shoulders, and the shoulders are incorporated in back, chest, and obviously shoulder work. So when I go to do any upper body stuff, I love to prime that. And Turkish get-ups, I actually, you guys didn't suggest this, but I actually even like doing these on like trigger days or off days.
That's a good idea.
Because it's not an exercise that you're going to get like really sore in one specific area. It's a total body type of movement.
It's like a communication exercise.
Yes.
That's how I like to describe it.
I think that's a good way to describe it. It's more of like a communication thing. And so I used to love to practice Turkish get-ups on a quote unquote off day of like heavy loading and training, and just work on my body's communication, like to Justin's point.
Gotcha. So if I took this a step further and said, like any type of, exercise or, any type of advice you guys give that, I think recently you talked about the elbow position for like biceps and triceps. If I just, take that and incorporate it where I would have done biceps in another workout, and, instead of doing just normal barbell curls, like try like preacher curls or spider curls or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally. And also
Exactly.
when you do the higher volume workouts, we think that'll be in there. Like if you did MAP split or aesthetic, you're going to see the different elbow positions with bicep and tricep exercise. But MAPS Anabolic's a lower volume, more basic kind of routine, which is more appropriate for most people most of the time. Yeah, you could totally replace, instead of doing dumbbell curls, do a preacher curl or a spider curl or something like that for sure.
That's actually part of why I asked you how many times you've ran anabolic and what you've done. And it sounds like you've done anabolic performance. Is all the things you've listed, we've actually incorporated into the other programs. Like, right, if you wanted like sled drives and stuff, I know you're gonna get some of that in like strong. If you wanted to do, the only thing I don't think we've included, have we done Mace and Indian clubs?
No.
That's the only thing we haven't done is Mace.
But that's a great. I mean, those are great for the mobility days on performance.
Yeah, but I mean, Turkish get-ups, sled work. I mean, we do spider curls, all those movements. Those have been built into every program. So you do get if you do go through other programs, you will get a chance to do that, and that's why we do it. We do it so if you run through all the programs, you get kind of a taste of all these different movements, and then hopefully our goal always is, whether you're a coach or you're just an average person going through all these programs, is once you've gone through them, you get this full grasp of, okay, I get what these guys are doing here. And then you can do what you're trying to do right now, which is, hey, I really like anabolic. It fits my schedule well. My body responds well to it. But I also understand the value the guys say of all these other movements. And so exactly what you suggested is a great way for you to implement that into anabolic.
All right, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'll take that, maybe swap some things out with some different movements, get my hands on a sled and see where that goes.
Hell yeah, man. Have fun with it.
Awesome, Jeff.
Thanks for calling in, Jeff.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You got it. This is the fun part. If you listen to our show and you follow our programs, it's obviously it's going to be fun in the beginning because you're going to see your body respond like it's never responded before. But it gets really fun when you start to learn how to listen to your body and implement changes and individualize your own routine. This is when it gets real exciting, because then you get to have some fun and individual. And nothing is, our programs, as good as they are, they're just not individualized. Mm-hmm. So when you get to the point when you run them once or twice, and then you start to tweak it for your specific body, man, that's when things really get enjoyable.
Not only that, I think this is also how you stay sane for decades and decades of training.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah. I mean, not to say like you can't, enjoy one of our programs and cycle through them, but at one point, it would only take to get through all of them, a couple of years at best, right?
Yeah.
If that 2 years to get through, I don't know, I've never
probably
done the math. 2 years, 2.5 years to get through all of them. Once you've kind of gone through all of them, just to keep repeating them would probably get really old after a few years of doing that. I would want to be able to play with it, modify, and take things that I learned from MAPS Performance, take things I got from Strong. And I mean, that's literally how I train right now. My training does not look like a specific MAPS program. I take our philosophy and I love to mix and match different movements that I'm interested in at the time.
Yeah. And this is really what led me into unconventional lifts in general, was just trying to seek a bit of novelty and something there that could maybe fill the gap to some of the training habits that I had established already. And so like all those years of just foundational, barbell training, it's like, to find certain lifts that had those certain elements. You can't get a lot of rotation, especially with the upper body.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of these that he'd mentioned were like such a huge fit for me that really unlocked even more potential I could squeeze. So there's just like opportunity for that. Once you get through and create that base level foundational strength.
Yeah, no, and look, if you work out and you do it right, it's a journey forever, and it changes and morphs depending on the context of your life and your body and what you're looking to do, and it never gets boring if you're really paying attention. It never gets boring. It just improves the quality of your life.